Chris, unmute.
Any guests or visiting Rotarians?
Yes,
I've got
okay, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Mark.
I've got two guests here today. I'd like to introduce as prospective members Meyer Nemetsky, who is joining us for the first time today. Meyer is a real estate agent like myself. We just completed a deal on Beverville, and at the last minute, I told him, if you want this to be done and you won't get sued by is my good friend Dr. Robert Odell from Cedars-Sinai, retired. Robert is a friend of ours for over 40 years. Our kids grew up together, and him and his wife are great people. She's a chief of anesthesiology, Robert, is that right? Over at Cedars. So she may know Ellie. And Robert and I enjoy getting caught up with each other every once in a while. So welcome, Robert, and welcome to Mayor.
Thank you.
Yeah, Meyer, can you say something as an introduction to our club? Tell us a little about yourself.
Sure. I live in Beverlywood. I'm not technically in Westwood. Mark said that was okay. And I don't know that much about what you guys do. This is actually my second time in attendance, not the first.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I heard about Rotary Club was at a speech at the Jewish Republican Alliance, I think is what it was. And Dennis Prager spoke, and he talked about how Rotary really turned them on to loving this country. And it was just a very nice story. So since then, I've always been curious about it. And Mark Rogo was my first opportunity to get a look behind the curtain.
Oh, delighted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Taya, next.
Wait 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
I do have a guest.
Go ahead, Ben.
This is Yang Sheng, right? Sheng? Yang
Yes.
Shen. Shen.
Yes.
Is a prospective member. And we met him. He was in one of these meetings before. He was on the cleanup. Chris, you met him then?
Yes.
We also met him for breakfast a couple weeks ago, and he turned in an application, and I'm pleased to see him again. He's got he has an interesting background. If you could do the Reader Digest version of what you do a little bit so people know you. I know that's difficult because you do so many incredible things, but try to less than a minute if you can.
Hi everyone. My name is Yang, and my first exposure to Rotary Club was back to about 11 years ago when I was in Hong Kong. One of my friends invited me to join a Hong Kong Rotary Club event, and back to 2015, I was invited to join another event at the Rotary Club San Marino. And recently I got more time, so I want to join the Rotary. And I live in Mar Vista, so it's fairly close to Westwood. So I choose to join the Westwood Rotary Club. Regarding myself, right now I'm directing the software development at a surgical robotics company in Malibu. So right now my office in Malibu, we are doing the surgical robotics on doing eye surgery. So we are using the robots to do the cataract surgery. And I think that's about me if you want to really digest the version of that.
Well, I think everybody will hear more about you down the road. We're excited to potentially have you. And I was impressed, so was Mark and Nancy when we met you. So
Yeah, I want to follow up with that because last week we had Dr. Pranav Amin, who's an ophthalmologist, who actually did the cataract surgery for my eyes. And I think it would be interesting to hear how robotics could affect that type of surgery in the future. Yeah, so I think that would be a subject that all of us would be very interested in learning more about.
Sure, I'd like to give a draft talk.
Good. Okay, next, Taya.
Thank you, Yang.
Thanks.
We have some announcements. Diane, will you start, please?
Sure, President Chris. The ROTC Army Award is now scheduled for April 28th, where we usually present a sword to the ROTC member selected. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. on the UCLA campus. If someone is interested in representing the Westwood Village Rotary at this event, please let me know. Thank you.
Okay. Any other announcements, Diane?
I think Ben might have one.
Yeah. Okay, Ben.
Do want to mute myself. So we have an exciting event, April 22nd on a Saturday at 10:30 at Otto and Sons. Those of you who have not been there, it is worth the drive because it's going into one of the most beautiful places, like going to a mini Huntington Museum or Huntington Park out in in Santa Anita area. It's gorgeous there. And we're planning on having a picnic lunch afterward. So figure it's from 10:30 to about 2:30. I will again send out a reminder this week. We're planning on 12 people. We need to know what you want for lunch so we can pick it up for you. You don't have to worry about it. We'll just bill your account, and it's going to be a delightful day. So
Yeah, and we'll carpool as well. So you don't have to drive out there. We'll arrange transportation, but you're in for a treat. If you like the Huntington Library, the gardens, I think that you are going to be surprised of this well-kept secret.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Mike, hold on. Mike, you have a question?
Just a quick question. Can people still sign up or are you locked and
Yeah,
loaded?
we
No.
can phone up. That's what I can get 2 tables if I need to. So please, all the merrier. Just email me how many, and I sent an email with the menu as well that we're ordering from. So I'll send it again. Just a reminder, because we'd love to have more people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're going to be surprised, and it's a particularly good time to go because all the roses are going to be blooming, but they've got orchards there. It's not just roses, it's anything for your garden is available, and it's a wholesale nursery and enormous. You'll be sort of surprised, even though I tend to oversell things.
Well, on this case, I don't think you are, especially when we go into our magic garden.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. That is a place of astonishment. And those who are thinking of planting roses, that weekend is their special event where they're offering a 25% discount in addition. So bring your pocketbooks and your eyes and ears.
All right. District conference is May 4th through May 7th. If someone is interested that hasn't signed up already, please let me know. We're having dinner on May 4th at Guillermo's, and I've got a reservation for 12 people. So if there's others that would like to attend, please let me know. We have our next cleanup is going to be April 29th. And if you have not yet participated and would like to participate in one, please let Steve Day know, or Ben Fisher, or myself, and we would love to include you. And that will be a day you will not forget. Any other announcements before we introduce our speaker? Okay, before we introduce our speaker, next. All right, I thought everybody might get a kick out of this. Tom Barron sent this to me, and I thought it was quite unusual. 1,000 words can be generated by just one picture. This is Tesla's roadside assistant vehicle filling up at the gas pump.
I love it.
Yeah, I know. I think it's pretty hilarious. Okay, next. Diane, will you please introduce our speaker today? Thank you.
Certainly. And following past President Steve's recommendation, she's a very well-known person to the Westwood Village Rotary, has been one of our friends for years, and to the Westwood Village Library. She is here to talk to us today about the concert series. If there's anything else you want to mention, please go right ahead. Welcome.
Myself. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Diane. I think I actually am a member of Rotary. I was initially a member of the Spouses Guild or whatever, and then you guys folded us into the main Rotary. And I have to apologize for not being at meetings, but I've just been super busy. I really appreciate you inviting me to speak. I'm here today. My capacity as president of the Los Angeles Musical Salon, which is a small 501c3 nonprofit charity located here in Westwood. Started in 2008. And our goal is to provide performance opportunities for rising young performers, to commission some works from composers, and to do community outreach to enrich the local cultural environment in the Westwood area, both for children and adults. And beginning in 2009, we started our free programs at the Westwood Library. And beginning in 2014, we expanded, and with the cooperation of the Friends of Westwood Library and of course the library itself, we initiated a concert series that has been taking place upstairs in the main library since 2019 through 2022, with a break for the COVID lockdown period of 2 years. We've been running 4 to 5 concerts upstairs in the library on a Sunday when the library's otherwise closed. But that has required that we move all the tables and chairs and then set up chairs in rows for stadium sort of seating for the concerts, which is a lot of work for volunteers. This organization is 100% run by volunteers, which means that all of your money, that's all the funds that are donated, go entirely to the program costs, which are basically paying the musicians their performance fee and design and printing of flyers, posters, and programs. And we were fortunate enough, right before COVID hit in February of 2020, to obtain the donation of a piano from one of our Westwood neighbors. And unfortunately, we weren't able to use the piano until last year because of the COVID lockdowns. So now our costs also include tuning the piano. And that has turned out to be required before every concert so far. Part of that is because the piano it's a Kawai, it's old. And while we totally appreciate it, it's been sitting for several years. I believe the very kind neighbor who donated it didn't use it that much. And so until the piano kind of is able to hold the tuning, we need to tune it every month. Now, I really want to thank Rotary, because Rotary has been one of our very generous supporters for almost every year. You've donated money to help fund these free public concerts at Westwood Library. And because the Sunday concerts require so much work, we decided to do something a little different this year. We're going to hold 2 Sunday concerts. And in addition, we're going to hold a more informal Saturday concert once a month that we're calling Second Saturdays. And we will not be moving all the tables and chairs. We're just going to move part of the tables and chairs, the ones in the alcove where the piano is kept, and just nearby, right nearby that. And we've done our first 2. I don't know, hopefully you guys saw. Oh, have I got screen sharing opportunity? Taya, can I share my screen?
Yes, you are. Ready to
Okay.
go.
Okay, so this is our flyer. Let's see. Wait, hang on a minute. I'm not that adept at this stuff, you guys.
So at the bottom, you should see where it says screen share.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
I
click
got it.
on
I got
that.
it. So this is the flyer for our first 4 second Saturday concerts. And we've had the first 2. The next one is coming up on April 8th. We were very fortunate to kick off the second Saturday's series with cellist David Garrett, who was one of the cellists with the LA Phil, who did a fabulous piano 4-hands concert. That was, the 2 pianists playing together on 1 piano. In April, in a week and a half, we have a graduate student from the USC Thornton School in piano who will be performing a Mozart sonata and a Chopin sonata. In May, we have Philip Levy and pianist Taeyeon Lim doing a violin and piano concert. Then moving forward in June, we have a young tenor from Chile who will be singing. In July, we do our big Sunday concert with the Los Angeles Police Department Band, which is always a very big attraction for our community. That's July. In August, we have a graduate student in the UCLA Herb Alpert School doing piano performance. September, we have a recent grad from UCLA who has a master's in voice, from the UCLA graduate program in voice in September. And then October, November, December, I'm waiting to hear from our quartet in residence, which, okay, let me see. How do I get rid of this? Put this down. Let's see. Okay. Our quartet in residence, the Fiato String Quartet. Once I know their schedule, then I'll fill in the other 2 months. Let's see. The more informal. Our programs have been really varied, and what I'd like to do is show a short 5-minute video with a sample of some of our past concerts, the free concerts that you guys have contributed to. So let me kind of put this on, and hopefully this will work. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What's happened? You know what, you guys, hang on. I don't understand why I can't play this. What?
We're still seeing the original flyer, Terry.
Okay. Oh, wow. Well, how do I, all right, let me close that.
Yeah, that
May
needs
have
to be
to stop
deleted.
sharing and share again.
There we go.
Okay. All right. So let's try it again. Okay. Share. I can't find the file. This isn't the file. Hang on. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I have it down on my.
It was showing on the screen.
Yeah, and it's down in my thing at the bottom, but it's not showing. So let's try this. Okay,
Yep,
can you see
sampler
that?
of free public concerts. Here we go.
Okay, do I have to unscreen share? I don't know how we do this now.
Yeah, if you don't want to share a screen anymore, you can just
Wait a minute,
stop it.
I'll tell you what, I do want to show you our website, but how do I stop the share? Okay, let me screen share again. You guys you can find out more about the LA Musical Salon on our website, which is lamusicalsalon.org. Okay, let's see. Okay, you can see that okay? I hope.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. It's lamusicalsalon.org. And we've got information about us. We did initially run dinner concerts, which were a lot of fun. Mark Rogo and his wife, I know, came to several of them, many of them. But eventually we lost our venue, which was the most recent venue was the Bel Air Bar and Grill. We started out at the Regency Club, which closed, and then we were kind of vagabonding around to different venues, and we finally ended up at the Bel Air Bar and Grill, which then of course closed during COVID and now is something totally different. But you can check out our free, and on the homepage you can see our current schedule. But our free events, which are the community events, this is the current events, but if you want to scroll down, you can see our past events here at the bottom of that page. We've commissioned some new works, both original music and transcriptions of other music, existing music for, we've been transcribing for piano quintet with double bass, which is an unusual configuration for chamber music. It's the one used in The Trout, in the famous piece, The Trout. So we've been commissioning more music for that. We've had guest artists for years. We've had artists in residence, or stuff about composers. We have some more videos if you're interested on our video and audio page, along with things where we don't have video, but you can get audio of some of our past programs. And that's kind of it. We have a store. I just wanted to speak maybe a little bit about, I don't know if we need to screen share this anymore. Okay. Just a little bit about the excerpts that I showed you. We had 8 young Brazilian cellists that came to us from Brazil, which we were very excited about. Then we had the Upside with a vibraphone, which is kind of unusual. That was a great concert. We did Peter and the Wolf, where the musicians dressed up as the characters, and then afterwards they had a little petting zoo for the instruments. There's a lot of kids in the audience for that one, and they were allowed to stand near the musicians. Were blow into their instruments, and the kids got to press the buttons so to make the different sounds. So that was a lot of fun. And then of course our quartet in residence was the Fiato Quartet. They'll be back in the fall. And the LAPD band, who we love. And we routinely get, even for our first 2 informal Saturday concerts, we had around 100 people show up. For LAPD, we routinely get more than 100. I mean, often we've been as much as 150 before COVID. We have a good relationship with the Belmont and with the new Watermark, where they bring some of their residents, they shuttle them over to see the performances. And these are all free concerts. They're all free. They're mostly professional musicians, although we are branching out with the second Saturdays to students, but they're, graduate students, so they're at pretty high level. And we're very excited about the program. What can I say? And I again, thank you all for supporting us. Of course, expanding to adding 9 second Saturdays, plus we're doing 2 Sundays, means we need to raise more money. I'll just kind of put that out there, because it is an expanded program, and we need to raise just maybe $14,000 to $15,000 to cover just our out-of-pocket expenses for these musicians. So that's kind of the pitch. I don't know if you guys have questions. I'm happy to answer them, and I know some of you have attended our concerts in the past, so I hope you'll be attending them in the future. Yeah.
Any questions? Mark,
Ben, you're muted.
Yeah, Mark, you've attended in the past. Tell us what your experience has been.
You talking to me?
Yep.
Well, I attended it when they had these great evening performances at the Bel Air Bar and Grill, where small venue, very intimate. They play half the concert, and then dinner was served, and everybody at every table had one musician. So you got a chance to meet the musicians and talk to them and find out about their passion and their life and their career move. And then you enjoyed the second half of the concerts. That's really one of the things that I enjoyed most of the events we have in Westwood. Terry has this amazing instinct. I don't even know how she does it, to find these musicians. I don't even know how she comes across it, with incredible talent, and everyone is enjoyable. I strongly recommend it. You will not be disappointed at all. Whether or not you are a classical fan or not, you will enjoy the concert. There's just nothing better than live music.
Yeah, and one of the things we do at every concert is a Q&A, so that people get to interact. Even in these library concerts, we always do a Q&A. And when the Polish musicians, the 2 Polish pianists, were here in March, they said they had never done a Q&A. They loved it. They were ready to sit there for another half hour and answer questions. They just thought it was so great to be able to interact directly with the audience, which they'd never done before. And Mark, I also had a similar reaction from the musicians at the dinner concert. I had one of them say to me, "Oh, it's so nice to talk to normal people who aren't musicians." They were really thrilled to be able to interact with the audience again, directly with the audience. That, unfortunately, we've lost our venue. It's very difficult to find a venue where we can have dinner. We had to, at the Bel Air Bar and Grill, we had to rent a piano, which was expensive. And then, there's just nowhere in the West Side that I'm aware of that we can do that at any kind of a reasonable cost.
I'm not saying anything or volunteering anything, but Steve Shear has a big, beautiful home with a gorgeous, large backyard.
This sounds very interesting, Terry. And so the best way to contact you is through your website, I guess, right?
Yeah, or just email me. I mean, you know my email. Don't you have my email? You can email me. It's terry@lamusicalsalon.org.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can we set you and a couple of your musicians as a program for our Rotary?
Yeah, sure. If you want to listen to some musicians, sure, absolutely.
Oh, it would be fabulous. We have a new venue in Westwood Village near UCLA called Hillel. And it's a perfect room. I was thinking maybe your event could we could possibly have an event there too. We could talk.
Ben, the question is, they don't really have food at Hillel. I have done an event.
They do.
They have a restaurant that could cater?
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a kosher restaurant, but they have their own kitchen.
Okay.
It's very good. And I was thinking the same thing, that we'll be back there on April 20th, but we can talk to them in between time and see if there would be a fit for you.
Okay, let me ask you something. Do they have a piano, or is that going to be we'd have to rent a piano if we want to have anything with piano?
I think they have a piano on one of those floors. I'm almost sure of it.
That'd be great.
I saw a studio piano. I haven't seen a grand piano.
Well,
Well, a studio being a upright or
Correct,
just a baby grand? Oh,
correct. No, not a baby grand.
okay.
By
Well,
the way, at the Friends board meeting last night, there was nothing but fabulous comments about the first two concerts.
oh, great. I'm glad to know
Everybody
that.
was really blown away that to hear for the first two programs.
Well, you know what? We have so much talent in Los Angeles, so much musical talent. It's just, we're just very rich in talent. And I get people both by referrals, and also there's something called the Beverly Hills Auditions, which is run by Jim Enninger and another woman whose name I can't think of, Laura Schmieder. And they run auditions. It's day-long auditions where each act they have to apply, and then they come and they do a 5 to 10 minute audition. And they open this to all the chamber music providers in the local area, in Los Angeles, Orange County, maybe even as south as San Diego County, and some San Bernardino and Riverside County. So there's probably 40 or 50 chamber music organizations that can come to this event, listen to maybe 20 or 30 acts. It's an all-day thing, maybe more, sometimes more. But it's great. It's great both for the chamber music providers, because then you see so many possibilities, and then also for the musicians, because they hit so many possible venues. And then the people that run it, they have a little committee of more musically educated than me, who choose the winners, the quote unquote winners of the Beverly Hills auditions for that year. And then they recommend those people. They may choose a half a dozen to a dozen, and they recommend those to all the other chamber groups. However, if you want to use someone else that you've seen, which I have done, it's no problem. I mean, I actually saw David Garrett and his wife at one of these Beverly Hills auditions years ago, probably 10 years ago. And David Garrett is the cellist from the LA Phil. And I asked him, I said, when he did this concert, I asked him if he had done any more. And he goes, I don't think they want us. I think they want younger people. But I said, well, I don't know. I heard you. I thought you guys were fabulous. And it stayed in my mind that we had heard them. So when we were going to start the second Saturday series, I contacted his wife, because I could find her email address online. And they were willing to do it, which I was thrilled at. And so that was a really great concert. And then the Polish guys I got from my friend who runs the Polish Music Center at USC. And he was recommending them because they were doing a small tour throughout the US, New York, and I don't know, somewhere. And I've had a great, just recently established a good relationship with the head of the piano department at UCLA, Ina Felix, and she recommended the pianist. So and then we get referrals from the musicians that we've used. They may recommend one of their friends. And so that's how it's been built. I've been doing this for 15 years, actually, since 2008. So it's
Terry, let me ask you a question. Ed Gold here.
Yeah.
Have you had many jazz concerts?
No, but that is actually on our agenda for the fall. I've had a referral from Steve Sand for a jazz concert that a group, well, at least one of the head of the lead, I guess, from the jazz concert that plays at the Geffen. And Steve has talked to him for one of the fall concerts. And it wasn't clear if he was going to use the same group that he's in at the Geffen or another group that he's in. But we are definitely planning a jazz concert for the fall. I just don't know yet which month.
Yeah, I would have a referral.
Okay, great. Let me know. Email me.
I shall.
Okay.
Terry, could you comment about the May program where you said that you have a tenor coming?
That's the June program.
The June program.
The June program. Javier Prado, who was actually one of the winners of the Beverly Hills auditions 2 years ago, young man. And I wasn't at that audition, but in fact, I think they may have done them all virtually during COVID, I believe. But I watched some of his videos and I thought he was quite engaging, because one of the things I also say to all of our musicians, because I really feel very strongly about this, that music should be approachable and not, if you go to Disney Hall, you're sitting way back, the musician's way down there on the stage, or the Hollywood Bowl. and there's kind of a, I don't want to say a barrier, but you know, you're not close to musicians, and especially for people that aren't musicians themselves, I think there's kind of a fascination. In fact, Mark, I don't know if you remember one or two of the concerts. One of my neighbors, Debbie Nussbaum, and her husband, who didn't want to come, her husband didn't want to come, but she kind of forced him. And he enjoyed himself so much because he was talking to the musicians. He was talking to actually Mark Zabowski, who had we commissioned to compose some stuff for us. And Mark had brought his laptop and he was showing Howard how he used the software to compose, you know, for the score, to put the music into the score. And it was so fascinating to Howard because he didn't have any experience with that. So they came back after that several times. So I always tell my musicians, I need them to be able to speak to the audience, to be comfortable speaking to the audience. I'd like them to introduce each piece, give it some context, some background to, you know, about the composer and the piece, and then be able to do the Q&A afterwards, which is we do in a very informal way. And the other thing I try and encourage, and I put that in this flyer again, especially with this informal Saturdays, second Saturdays concert, bring your kids, because kids don't get exposure to live music, you know, live professional musicians. We had a great, when the first concert in February, when David Garrett was there was a young, you know, I guess he was maybe 12 or 13 in the audience, who during the Q&A asked David Garrett how he learned vibrato on the cello. And it was really great because David said, well, I'm still learning, I'm still practicing, you know, and he kind of talked to, and he said, I guess you're a string player. And he, what did you play? You know, and he just interacted with this kid. With the Polish musicians, we had two little kids. They looked to me like maybe 8, 10, two little kids that were kind of shy, hanging back behind some audience. And I saw them and I just went, come on, come here, come here. And I just pointed to the floor and they sat right there on the floor, like less than 10 feet from the pianist, and watched the whole thing. So they may be taking piano lessons. So I really try and encourage people to bring their kids, you know, and you saw that Peter and the Wolf, which was really for kids. I mean, that one was a lot of fun. Yeah, so that's, I guess that's.
Well, Chris, I've got a comment, not a question for Terry. She's a conduit for the Westwood Homeowners Association, and she does so much for our community. She puts stuff on the email and spreads it around, and she's a contact for everything. And anyway, we really appreciate that, Terry. You've done a lot for our community.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Thank you. Yeah.
Terry, I think Ben and I can reach out to David Berman at Hillel.
Okay.
And see if there might be an opportunity for you to explore with them.
Okay, that'd be great. I really appreciate that, Chris. And certainly, no matter what, let me know if you want me to round up some musicians.
Oh, we do.
Okay,
yeah,
just
we'll
for a Rotary. And what I'd have to do is I'd have to know if there was a piano or not. And if no piano, then would be winds or brass or strings.
Okay.
With the piano, we have a little more freedom, I guess. And of course, then I'd have to find, you know, our musicians, the young musicians, they, in order to make a living as a musician, they are hustling all the time, and they do different things. So our quartet in residence, two of the first and second violins play with the LA Chamber Orchestra, as well as teach. And then they're also studio musicians. So they're very busy doing studio work during the day. You know, they were telling me the hot new thing is video games, and video games like to their you know, music soundtrack, they're using live musicians, not just electronic music. So they were telling us about that. So they're very busy, and then they teach. So we would have to find people who could do a midday thing, you know, a midday concert. I'd have to find some.
Terry,
Yeah.
Quick question. Do you know how much it costs to rent a piano? I realize it has to be.
Yeah, when we used to rent, a Yamaha, and it was about $1,000. We had to, and that was, I'm trying to remember, I think that just covered, because that just covered delivery and pickup. Somehow one of our artists was a Yamaha artist and got use of the piano for free. So we didn't have to actually pay for the piano, but we had to pay movers to deliver the piano and then to come get it. and to tune it, and we had to pay a tuner. So it ran around $1,000. That was a few years ago, but I'm assuming it's at least that much, if not more.
Huh. That's a lot of money.
Per concert. Yeah. Well, that's why we're so happy to have the piano now for the library that totally expands the range of music that we can provide. Because otherwise we were limited to strings, brass, and winds, basically. Yeah. Which is okay. There's a lot to be done with that, but piano just adds so much more.
Right.
I'll just throw a pitch in here, Terry, that one of my clients who's selling the condo,
yeah,
in the quarter, has a baby grand there that she inherited from her mother as well as the condo, and has talked about donating that or selling it or something with it before the close of escrow.
What kind of piano is it? Do you know, Mark?
I forgot, tell you the truth.
Listen, I would be really interested because the Kauai, and we do have a problem. We have a kind of a delicate diplomacy issue because we so appreciated getting the Kauai, and the Friends of the Library made a very big deal out of feting the neighbor, and so we don't want to like turn around and get rid of her piano 3 months into it. But if it's a better piano, quite honestly, I would sure be interested in looking into it.
I'll call you and Scott afterwards, work out the details.
Okay.
Ultimately, you should come and look at it.
Yeah, not me. I would have to have Mark come because I'm not a pianist. He's a concert pianist. He knows pianos. You know, I don't play. I've never played an instrument, but I really love, especially classical music myself. And I came to it late, actually, when I was in law school. And I stumbled onto I went to Yale, and the law school was a block away from the music school. And I remember so clearly the first semester of my second year, I just happened to notice there was a concert in the music school in their little concert hall. And I just, I thought, okay, let me go over there and see. And it was the Grieg Piano Concerto in A. And after the first few notes, it was like, wow, I got to know more about this. And so basically I'm sort of self-taught, but I'm a big believer in that, especially classical music needs to appeal to people emotionally first and not an intellectual level. They need to just listen to the music and love it, and then you can learn more about it. But it's important to also get some context. I just think people need to be open to all the beautiful music that's available to us. And we're so fortunate nowadays with modern, recording technology that you don't have to be a musician to appreciate and enjoy it and educate yourself about it, Okay, that's my pitch for you guys.
I had a similar experience when I was at UCLA. One of my fraternity brothers said he was practicing to become a concert pianist. We went over to his grandparents' house, and they had a grand piano.
Uh-huh.
And when he hit the keys, I think I was lifted off my seat. I've never heard anything like it. And that sort of opened up a whole different world to me. So I can appreciate what happened to you.
Thank you. That's really great.
Yeah.
Other people grew up with it. Like my husband, Scott, grew up with music. His family was very into it. And so he was going to concerts as a kid, which I never did. We didn't live anywhere near where there was stuff like that.
Right. All right, we're coming to a conclusion. Any other comments, questions before we finished? I would like to bring to everybody's attention that we have a live meeting April 6th, not at Guido's, not at Hillel, but at Persian Gulf, 1389 Westwood Boulevard. For the next 2 weeks, we'll be at Persian Gulf. Any questions, any comments? Ben, you and I talked afterwards. And Steve, you have a comment?
Well, just that parking is, to be quite frank, challenging, as we all know, in Westwood. So leave time to find yourself a parking spot. Also consider carpooling if it's at all possible based upon where you're coming in from. But I think Chris and Diane and I had lunch there last Friday, and I think the food was very, very good. And the facility is more than adequate. It's not halal, but on the other hand, I think it's more airy and light and than Guido's was. So I think it's a good secondary facility for us. And so again, parking can be challenging. If you live close, consider walking. If you have the capability of carpooling, please do. I already asked Diane, and I'm going to meet up with her over at Westwood Transitional Village and ride with her. I know, and Taya, but there's also additional spots there. So please contact Diane if you're interested in carpooling too. But again, it should be a great week next week at Persian Gulf.
Chris, is this near the Delphi?
Next door.
Okay,
2 doors
fine.
down. 2 doors
Yeah,
down.
2 doors down.
And
Okay.
by the way, I think the market has opened up across the street. I believe there could be parking there as well.
Yeah, that's 99 Ranch Market.
Right. So if it's there, there's plenty of parking there.
All right, before we go, thank you very much, Terry, for speaking with us today. I plan to attend some of these Saturday concerts.
Oh, I hope you do.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I didn't know more about it myself, so I'm looking forward to it.
So what, anybody who wants to be on our mailing, well, I do an email list. Just email me your address, your email address, and it's Terry, Terry, at lamusicalsalon.org.
I shall do.
Okay,
All right, thank you all for attending. We are finished.
great. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.